After 7 long years, the Tom Baker era has drastically changed. John Nathan Turner has taken over the programme in 1980, taking it in a hugely different direction that was not well received by the cast and writers. Television had improved significantly, and everything was getting a lot more disco. And also, Tom got a horrible new costume. I really am not a fan. So, the final story of the Baker era, what has it got to show for a legacy spanning 7 years? I'll be completely honest, bugger all, really. Of all the pictures they could have chosen, they chose that. It's still an awesome title sequence, though. This story begins with a policeman being taken by his own police box. Is it the TARDIS? Well, we'll find out later, I guess. Speaking of the TARDIS, this is our new TARDIS team. The Doctor, Adric, and Nyssa, but there will be a new companion. Before this story, we had the E-Space trilogy, which ended with the departure of Romana 2, a Time Lady that travelled with the Doctor for a while, committing the cardinal sin of the Time Lords by interfering on a long-term basis. But that's not really relevant. What is would be Tegan Javanka, a budding air stewardess, or soon to be if she actually makes it to the airport. Unfortunately for her and her Aunt Vanessa, they've broken down. Luckily, it's next to a police box. So the Doctor's goal for this story is to head to Earth, get the dimensions of a police box in the 1980s, then head to Logopolis to use block transfer computation to change the dimensions, since, as always, the chameleon circuit is broken. This is where we actually get to see the chameleon circuit, though according to the Doctor it's a more rudimentary system, but the effect is amazing.
And we be a pyramid.
I didn't mean that one. Coincidentally, the TARDIS has just landed inside of the police box, right next to Tegan. Or outside of it? I can't really tell. They take down the measurements, and Adric shows his mathematical genius. Let's just quickly talk about Adric. I'll be honest, like most people, I do not like Adric, and neither did Tom Baker. He's annoying, smug, and quite, to be perfectly frank, up his own arse. I get he's meant to be the exposition character, but it's just endless questions with him. Anyway, the Doctor and Adric head into the police box, and it turns out it's another TARDIS. Okay, this is where it gets a bit confusing, and especially confusing for Tegan, who's just wandered on in. The Doctor and Adric continue through the next police box and find another TARDIS. The Doctor and Adric continue through the next police box and find another TARDIS. Wait, no, it's the exit. And the police. Ah.
Good morning. Is your vehicle? Which vehicle? The sports car. No. Ah.
Wait, where's Vanessa? Oh. As you can tell, the Master is the main villain. Finally having a new body by stealing it from Nyssa's father, Tremas, the Master is now played by Anthony Ainley. After going through 2 broken incarnations after Delgado, we finally get a more normal-looking incarnation, getting back to form and not having to continue the looking for a new body shenanigans. Well, that explains the other TARDIS, but it doesn't explain the third one. To be honest, we probably won't get an explanation. Adric pretends to be stuck under a bike, giving them both a chance to escape, meaning that the police find nothing but an empty box. Unable to fully escape, however, they look to find more power, so the Doctor comes up with a brilliant idea. Put the TARDIS at the bottom of the River Thames and open the door.
Now!
Never mind. Either way, the TARDIS is now finally free of whatever was stopping them, so they can head to Logopolis. The Doctor, Adric, and Tegan. Oh my god, Tegan! So this whole time, Tegan has been absolutely traumatised looking for the TARDIS pilot, getting laughed at and creeped out by the cloister bell. Well, thankfully, now she's in good company. Well, sort of. Finally we get to meet the Logopolitans. Logopolitans? Logopolitians? We'll go with Logopolitans. They're a species based entirely around maths, led by a monitor. They do everything in their heads with abacuses. Abacuses. Only sometimes relying on technology, all the while looking absolutely ridiculous, putting cling film on tape drives. Imagine you're an actor in the 1980s and get told to do this.
Kerry, Kerry,
I don't know, Tegan. When I say run, run. Even stranger is that Nyssa turns up, being brought by a friend of the Doctor. Even stranger than that is that the block transfer doesn't work, so these 4 old men have to carry around a TARDIS. But this is not an error as the Monitor believes. This is intentional, sabotage by the Master. The Monitor and Adric quickly find his handiwork, and I'm just left baffled. I know that these people are really focused, but surely one of them would have noticed that 3 of their mates have been miniaturized. But this is more problematic than just murder, and the TARDIS is shrinking, as the entire fate of the universe is at stake. Apparently, block transfer computation can have catastrophic consequences for the structure of the universe. And it does, creating an entropy wave. Remember how the Master took the body of Nyssa's father, Trimas? Well, we only get one interaction between the two, and when that information is revealed to her, it just kind of falls flat.
Trimas is dead, murdered by him, the Master.
This...
You killed my father.
This man has not only killed her dad, but is now piloting his corpse around, getting absolutely no reaction out of her. In my personal opinion, while Christopher Bidmead tries to create deep and scientifically interesting stories, they're just absolute crap. So the Master stops everything in Logopolis for less than 5 minutes. Despite the Monitor's protests, he doesn't listen, causing the entropy wave I have mentioned before. The entropy wave feeds on power and erodes everything. Literally everything. Meaning this story technically has the highest off-screen body count, since it said that most of the universe is just eaten. The Master is now an unstoppable killer. I mean, how could the Doctor stop him? Drop kick him? How about work with him? Now the Master has realised what he's done, he agrees to help save the universe. But only to save himself, of course. Back on Earth, the Doctor and the Master arrive at the Pharos project.
It's the Lightspeed overdrive, Doctor. You'll need that to accelerate the signal from the transmitter.
I'm so sorry. I thought you meant to shoot him.
Oh, Doctor.
He's unconscious.
As bloodthirsty as ever. Though, as he says, it does remove any unnecessary conversation. At the same time, Adric and Nyssa are trying to get there as well, revealing that these two can't act very well at all.
I can't see Traken.
Traken should be.
I can't even see Matilla Orionsis. The Master killed my stepmother, and then my father. And now the world that I grew up in.
Matthew Waterhouse is just a little bit better than Sarah Sutton, but all emotion from the scene is just completely absent. Nyssa has just seen her whole world be disintegrated, her home planet. Adding that on top of her dad and stepmom being hijacked and killed respectively, she can't even shed one tear? So we've got 12 minutes to save the universe, which they're able to do. But the Doctor has to commit the ultimate sacrifice. Or the Master, who has been tricking him all along, will rule the universe, now with the power to destroy anyone he wishes by restarting the entropy wave. The absolute madman. They have a scuffle on the rafters and end up kissing, or at least that's what it looks like, before the Master starts turning the dish, causing the Doctor to be like the universe, hanging on a thread, as all his foes call out his name.
Predictable as ever, Doctor.
Doctor! 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 You shall die for this!
Okay, I'll be honest. I've been neglecting to mention something all along, something that the story should have as well, and I'm pretty sure many of you know who I mean. The Watcher. This whole time a figure has been looming in the background, a figure of pure white, only interfering when necessary, a character who is revealed to be a future incarnation of the Doctor all along, allowing him to regenerate. Brilliant. My only gripe with the Watcher is that too much attention is paid to him. Personally, I'd much prefer it if he just wasn't focused on. Keep all of Nissa's references, keep him piloting the TARDIS, but don't reveal him fully. Just keep him in the background. It would be so much more effective. As I've said throughout this review, I really do not like this story at all. The setting is bleak, the pacing is worse, and as I've said before, Adric and Nyssa are just terrible. Bidmead cannot write compelling characters at all, and is trying to keep up an illusion of grandiose that just cannot persist. Tom Baker's era is by far the most fondly remembered. You can argue that Tennant's is more, but I feel it's just a bit too recent. Oh my god, I'm an adult now. Well, that's just put everything in perspective. I just want to quickly say, Tom Baker is really made out to be a prick. Over the 7 years he got increasingly irritable, and basically ruled the show with an iron fist. He didn't get along with many people, especially Paddy Russell and Matthew Waterhouse, who even Lala Ward didn't get along with. Speaking of Lala, she and Tom got married at one point, getting divorced 16 months later. Even though on screen he was charismatic and playful, in real life he seems like a real menace. I already know someone who will hound me for saying that. I think the fondness is really down to one significant factor: the companions. He begins with Sarah Jane, the highest rated companion ever, who I cannot stress enough the brilliance of. His next companion is Leela, a female warrior that is a feminist icon, being a tad bit underrated in my opinion. And finishing off with who I said before, Romana, the Doctor travelling with two of her incarnations in quick succession. And now we're left with two subpar companions and Tegan, who other than Anthony Ainley is the only interesting thing in this story. God, I have really high hopes for Castrovalva. The story that we will be looking at tomorrow, and hopefully enjoying. I'll see you then.